It's a beautiful sunny June morning in 1990 when a customer enters the Highland Meadows General Store in Independence Township. But instead of seeing normal activity, she finds a horrifying scene. Lying on the floor is 40-year-old clerk Carolyn Sue Bradley. She's been shot twice. Investigators will have little to go on. They identify a suspect in the shooting, a West Virginia man, but then aren't able to gather enough evidence to file charges against him. To this day, no one has been brought to justice for Carolyn Sue Bradley's murder. Join us now as we look deeper into the investigation. I'm LeVar McBride, and this is Cold Case, Beaver County.
911, what is your emergency?
You got 3 people of interest still, say, I do. 3 people of interest, then you get that blank face.
Now that's why nobody really knows if she is dead or alive.
He was set free, and he was set free to go kill.
We've never gotten that one break. We've never gotten that one break. You know, we will though.
Carolyn Sue is a wife and mother to 4 children. The crime is shocking for the quiet rural community.
Carolyn Sue Bradley, by all accounts, was a wonderful lady. And here we are in Independence Township, where is a safe, typically, community to live in. And she was killed, a gunshot wound to the chest.
Carolyn Sue is still alive when she's found on the floor of the convenience store, but she is unconscious. She dies on the way to the hospital. The police began to piece together bits of mostly circumstantial evidence.
It's very frustrating. You know, like I said, I've done law enforcement for 37 years. I ended my career retiring with Independence after 27 years service. And to this very day, I still get flashbacks on this investigation. I can remember the day as clear as you and I are speaking right now. The type of day it was, and there was not a cloud in the sky in what occurred that day. And it was just something that it just bothers us.
Police get one break, an unusual car, an early 70s model green Ford Maverick, spotted by a witness, ultimately leads them to their main suspect, Kevin Dorizio.
The investigators in this case were able to focus in on a suspect who had been involved in a very similar robbery down in West Virginia. And a lot of the issues with the robbery matched up almost identically with the robbery at the Highland Meadows General Store. This guy had also recently painted his car before they found out about him, possibly between the time of the robbery and when the police were able to come down and talk to him.
Dorizio has a criminal history that includes theft and robbery.
The next day, he had gone into Kmart and purchased several cans of a dark green, like a forest green colored paint, and he hand sprayed painted this vehicle. And when we got into the area and we found him, we went to interview him, we found the vehicle in front of his house, but of course he denied anything being there at the crime scene.
During that time prior to, from his death prior to that, he refused to speak to us. His lawyer would never let him talk to us, and most people were afraid of him. He was very violent. He acted out, and most people that knew him feared him. We just need some of those people, either friends or family, that are aware of his conversations that he committed this crime. At this point, they aren't in violation of any crime. We can have them come forward and speak about the matter and feel free that they're not going to get prosecuted. I, however, cannot guarantee that in the future.
Dorizio goes to prison for the robbery in West Virginia. He dies of health-related problems in 2008 while he is in prison.
He was ultimately convicted of the armed robbery, which was involving pepper spray, so he didn't kill the clerk. And in our case, we can assume perhaps because he was identified by the clerk in that case prior to the pepper spray, and in our case he wanted to make sure that he wasn't identified again, and shot her once in the chest and once in the back of the head, we believe, once she was down on the floor.
25 years later, new investigators are looking at the case with fresh eyes, but they are also hampered by what information the original investigators were able to obtain. Limited resources were available to investigators when the crime took place. Current technology may have been able to help the investigators share information faster in 1990.
It's a shame that we didn't have the resources then that we have now, that he might have been identified quicker nowadays, that we might be able to come up with him as a suspect sooner, and then maybe do some investigative actions that would help link him directly to the crime. At the time this crime occurred, it was almost by word of mouth or by person-to-person contact that we were able to determine that this other crime had occurred even in West Virginia.
This case is unique to this extent. Our chief suspect has passed away. He died in prison. Some people always ask the question, well, if it turns out to be that particular individual and you know that he's deceased, why do you still pursue the case? The answer to that question is that in this office we feel that we have an obligation to, if nobody else, to the family that she left behind, to be able to answer that question affirmatively.
People often fail to realize how homicide impacts entire families, not just a small group of people. It impacts large groups of family members and their relations and things down the road that somebody who wasn't inherently involved that's having information could clear up and ease some of that pain.